everyone. Welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper. The 6th season of The Blacklist picks up from the starting revelation that Raymond Reddington isn't who he says he is. Today, I'm chatting with Megan Boone, who plays Liz, an FBI agent in pursuit of the truth. But before we bring out Megan, here's a clip from Blacklist.
Did you hear what I said? Cooper's been ordered not to inform the court about the task force. They're going to prosecute you.
Of course they are. They're political animals. In the short run, justice always loses to politics.
Aren't you worried? You've been indicted for at least half a dozen capital offenses.
I'm confident I'll prevail. I want to talk about the news. The marshals have been watching all morning.
Yeah, you've been the top story on every channel.
I'm not talking about me. There was a story about bodies found in a Virginia warehouse.
I saw that, some kind of underground medical experiment.
What if I told you I knew who conducted that experiment?
Everyone give it up for Megan Boone.
I had a cold that day.
You had a cold that day?
Yeah. I just watched that clip with you guys. I had a stuffed nose. I was talking like this, kind of.
Oh, see, I couldn't hear. But what do you do on days like that when you're just like, I don't even sound like me?
You just push on through. You try to locate your voice in a different part of your body and hope that no one can tell. But you could tell.
You have like a regimen of like this kind of tea, this kind of cough drop, or you just kind of freestyle?
Whatever gets you through, you know.
Well, we have an audience full of the Blacklist fans. I was just before. I was
Hey, guys.
I was like, guys, does anybody know who he really is? Because I need to know. So now we're starting the 6th season. We're in a couple episodes. Where did we pick up for those people who are just maybe kind of getting locked in?
We had the biggest revelation of the series at the end of season 5, that the bones in the bag that Liz was tracking down the whole season were Reddington's bones. And the man who's been posing as Raymond Reddington is not who he says he is. So that's where we pick up.
Dun, dun, dun.
Good sound effect.
Thank you.
Is that an original?
Yes. Made it up, just thought of it in my head. So I want to know for you, obviously, you can't really share, I know, all the amazing things that are probably going to happen this season, but I want to know what table reads are like for you guys.
We don't have them.
You don't?
No.
So you just have to like uncover all of these mysteries by yourself, reading them alone?
Yeah, well, we have phone calls with producers, but for the most part, you figure it out in rehearsal.
Yeah.
For me, that's been the process, if you can call that a process.
One thing I love about this show is it does constantly keep me on my toes. Do you think that's one of the reasons viewers continue to come back season after season?
Yeah, and the cast, I mean, it's got a lot of, it's got a lot of meat to it, you know? The cast is interesting. Even, you know, I feel like the smaller, like the ensemble roles are filled with really great actors, and then we have really great actors who come in for the guest stars, and every week you're like, what, you know, Tony-winning actor is going to be here this week, you know, playing the Blacklister, or TV legend Alan Alda, or, you know,
Nathan Lane, or
Diane Wiest, or, you know, whoever. I mean, it's been insane. An insane revolving door of incredible performers come through, and I think that's another part of it too. It's that the plot twists definitely help, though. Yeah.
And how far in advance do you know about these plot twists? Like, do they keep you guys in the dark too?
Yeah, not very far. I find out about a lot of new developments with Liz Keane from like my costume designer sometimes. She'll be fitting me for the next episode, and oh my gosh, did you hear? And I'm like, oh my gosh, not again. What? Because the process usually in TV is that you have these tone meetings and these production meetings, and the crew is involved in that. Some of the department heads are involved in those, and then the actors get the script last. You know.
So let's talk about the evolution of Liz, because from season 1 to now, she's almost a completely different person. How do you view her evolution?
That's really a result of my having changed a lot too. I mean, it would be really impossible to find that baby-faced Liz that came onto the scene with the ugly wig, because, you know, for one, I immediately started like hair growth vitamins, and I was like, we got to get rid of this. And then I also, you know, worked on the show, which for me, I was acting more than I used to be awake during the day. You know, I was coming to work doing like 8 to 10 pages, it just changed me. It transformed me, So I think that made it impossible to keep her the same.
What has been maybe the biggest change in that character then, from then to now?
Well, I think one thing is that I got a lot more control over the way she looks. When you first start a show, and you're not a name actor, and it's poised to be a big show like The Blacklist was, you don't have very much control over the character. Not as much as you anticipate you will have. You're kind of told, like, this is how she's going to dress, and a committee of, like, 20 people who work at all these different companies are weighing in on it, and you are not CC'd on that email. And then years go by, and they loosen their grip a lot because the show's a success, and so you get a lot more creative freedom. And so I remember the year when I called the costume designer, Christine Bean, and I said, you know who I think she really is? And she was like, who? And I was like, she's a cross between Johnny Cash and Bruce Springsteen. I mean, I was just talking wardrobe, She wears a uniform. She wants to be inconspicuous. No more flashy blouses. She has no reason to wear a suit to work. She has no one to answer to but Red Reddington. You think she's going to wear a suit? So I got to start to make choices about it, which changed her a lot.
We're also in a different era of entertainment, obviously, after Me Too and Time's Up. Has that affected how she's written or how you approach the role at all?
Certainly.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of room to say, you can't kidnap her 3 times in a season, and you can't kidnap her and then have the guys come and save her every time. Like, if you do kidnap her, give her the wherewithal and the autonomy to figure it out and figure out how to get out of that situation. So.
And I can see that I asked that question because in the episodes I've seen of this season so far, she kind of has an upper hand a little bit, and she seems to be more in control than I've seen her in the past. So how fun is it to play that dynamic with James Spader, where you have the jump a little bit, at least for now?
I think I really like the idea that I can be really disliked. For a long time, I really wanted everybody to like Liz Keane and to like me, and I realized that it's a lot more fun to play somebody who's more controversial. And so I love the opportunity. I didn't create that opportunity. The writers created it. John Bokenkamp and his writing team really made her a little more of an anti-hero.
Right. But I think anti-heroes are so likable because they're so multifaceted and they have so many more things going on. They're so much more interesting, I think.
Me too.
With that said, do you like Liz?
Not totally, no. I know you're supposed to really like your characters. Actually, that's like a rule that I heard once from people who try to tell you how to act and what acting is and what's right and what's wrong. I don't agree with that. I don't know any human being who really fully likes themselves, I think that it's okay to bring in like a little seed of self-hate, a little bit of doubt, and the rest of it is also just a series of mistakes that lead to a final product. You wake up, you've got another day, 5:30 a.m. You're gonna try to do your best today. You spend an hour deciding what kind of person you want to be that day, and then you go forward and you totally don't fulfill your expectations. But like, that's what the series of mistakes are. So.
Do you have hopes and dreams for her?
No, I really, not in this situation, because it is such a roller coaster, and I know that I'm mostly just like hanging on, waiting for the next script, learning tomorrow's scenes. It's just going through it one step at a time.
I think Liz is so dynamic, and one, because she has like the biggest daddy issues of any person I've ever seen on television.
Funny, I should play her.
Right. So I hear you. So how fun is it to do so many scenes with James Spader and just play that dynamic and play off of him and grow this relationship? Because it is so tumultuous and just very unique. It's just something I've seen on TV.
Yeah, well, James is very unique.
Yeah.
And so I don't think a show that he's sort of like is the flavor of is gonna like become like a normal thing, you know? So that's been great. And he attracts all that great talent to come to the show. So in that way, it's been really great.
Yeah. Is there anything that you've kind of learned from him or gleaned over all these seasons?
Something I think he does, I don't know if it's intentional, but I feel like he works with rhythm a lot in the way that he speaks. And he can feel intuitively how that should go and how using a phrase from one point to the next, how that phrase is communicated to the audience. And he is in his own world when he's working, you know, like it's an incredible thing to watch because, you know, his brain is working so much at what he's doing that there's no like, he's like a freight train, you know?
So then what do you do to get into your character and to prepare for that?
I'm a really responsive person, you know? Like, I'm here, like, I'm with you, I'm responding to what you're doing, I'm responding, mostly.
When you started, this was your first kind of big project, right? So now that you're 6 seasons in, have you had time to really look back and just think about this ride you've been on?
Every once in a while, but not a lot, no. I think it's gonna be a lot to process at some point when I decide that it's time.
What has been maybe the coolest part of this Newfound Fame? Because I did see on your Instagram that you were a clue on Jeopardy, and for me, that would kind of be like a I made it moment.
Fame, especially nowadays, is a very weird thing because I don't feel famous, and I think you can be famous to some people and not to others. So you say Newfound Fame. I have a different life than I used to because I used to wonder what it would be like to be a working actor and have that opportunity. And I think that's something I really realized, especially recently, is that an artist is never really satisfied. You know, I thought I wanted to reach this milestone of being a working actor, and now I have other aspirations and other things that I feel like I'm never gonna feel like my thirst is quenched unless I find that spring.
I hear that from a lot of other people too, and I also, in doing this job, the term working actor coming from actors, something I've really learned is that you never really get to rest and settle. You're always working and thriving, and even though you have a job now, you know that you have to continue to work hard and that it's hard to stay employed. And so I think what you're saying, I'm just saying, is I think it's really cool that you're just like grounded in the moment, but knowing that there's other things you want to do, you know.
Yeah, that's why I said the New Year's resolution that I'm gonna slide into more people's DMs.
Please share that. So we were chatting in the back, and she said that was her New Year's resolution. Why?
Because I all my whole life I've been really shy, and I haven't had the kind of personality where I've been out like making friends or going to parties and like meeting new people, and I don't have a ton of time to do that now, and it'd be kind of weird. Like, I don't know, but I do go to plays and I see movies, and so my New Year's resolution is like when I see something that I like, I'm gonna identify, oh, I loved the writing on that, or I loved the directing, and I'm gonna slide into their DMs and tell them that I really admire them.
Will you share who you slid into? No?
No.
Okay, that's fair.
But it worked.
I was gonna
My
say,
first attempt is like, I'm getting drinks with this person, we're gonna hang, so that's good. I don't know what I'm gonna say, but
That's so cool. You don't have to tell me who, but like, what did you say? You're just like, hey, what's up?
well, I said I think you're one of the great, playwrights of our time, and that your work is gonna be very meaningful. And I just wanted to send back the love and healing that I got from your work.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
That's so cool. And you live in New York, right? So it's like you get to see a ton of theater. I think that's really awesome that you like took that chance. You took a risk in 2019 already.
Yeah, I think that's what it's about, putting myself out there a little bit more.
Mine's a lot more internal. I just need to drink more water. I'm constantly dehydrated.
Wow, that's really bad.
It's really bad. I'll drink like half a Poland Springs bottle a day.
Don't drink those because they're plastic and they're made
horrible.
from petroleum.
And they're bad for the environment.
Terrible. The plastic itself is insane. It's this thing that's meant to last forever that we use one time. And then it's also created with petroleum products. So it's emitting a blanket into the atmosphere that is heating the earth and could potentially make it uninhabitable for most organic life as we know it. So
As the UN climate report just shared, and
yeah,
a ton of I'm actually really on the climate change. Yeah.
I was happy to see.
Yeah, we try around here. Also, I have a metal water bottle that I've been using because I watched NASA Above and Beyond. It was this documentary done by Rory Kennedy, and it just like woke me up to a lot of things.
Yeah, I hope that other people find that source of awakening.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Guys, are you listening?
Not that we have
No
that
more
much
plastic
power.
water bottles.
Not that we have that much power over
What do you
it.
mean? We have mics right now. We're sharing it with everybody.
I mean, because we have to get policymakers and business owners to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. I think the biggest thing we can do as citizens and consumers is find ways to vote people into office that are interested in progressive alternative energy policies, and also patronize business owners who are foregoing short-term gains so that they can invest in companies that will create long-term prosperity for humanity.
Yeah, and soon, because according to the report, we don't have a ton of time.
No,
really,
we'd have to
make the changes
transition.
that could have a real impact.
Yeah, we have to create a transition of our industrial complex in the next 12 years to, I don't want to misquote them, but like 50% of our infrastructure, I think, has to change.
And that's just to sort of like stop things from progressing.
It won't
even worse.
stop
Yeah,
anything.
it's just like level out a little bit.
The reality is that, I mean, people see it as like there's a timeline, like we have to stop on this date, but it's really, climate scientists are physicians for the earth. And they're basically saying, you guys are smoking 10 packs a day. It's not good that you've been smoking 10 packs a day. In fact, there are going to be a lot of problems as a result of that. Mm-hmm. But if you stop now, you'll be better off. Right. And that's the reality. And if you don't stop now, game over.
I know I read that you found an organization that sort of is helping people make better choices with environmental products. I kind of botched that, but I just read something.
Well, I did a fundraiser when my daughter was born called Caroline Agnes, but it's over now. And it was, I just did a limited series of baby products that was better for the babies, because in my mind I thought, if I can connect human life, especially new human life, because nobody looks at a baby and is like, I hate that person.
Unless you're a real asshole.
Or like, I don't like their face. You know what I mean? Like, we look at each other and do that to one another sometimes, but we don't do that to little infant humans. And so I thought if I can connect in people's mind the idea that these vulnerable humans are going to remain vulnerable for the rest of their lives as a result of this problem, then that would be good. And I don't know if I was successful in that, but it was something for me to do. And I did get the cause in like Us Magazine and People Magazine and places that I wasn't really interested in being in the first place, but I could get into them. And so I was like, oh, I can get into this magazine and that magazine. I should use that to try and, talk about climate change. And I think the People magazine that is on the shelf right now says climate change in it, because I did an interview with them and I talked about it in there. So hopefully it'll help a little bit. I don't know.
I think it's something really important to be passionate about, especially now. So I think it's awesome that you're taking your position to speak about it. I think it's something that I look to towards people in entertainment to speak out about things they care about. I know some people don't like that, but I think it's important. So good for you. I do want to talk a little bit about your beginnings. You went to Florida State, right? So how did you get into acting from there?
Well, I went there because I was into acting. I didn't want to go too far away from home because I was a little scared. And they had a theater program that was good, supposed to be good. I didn't end up loving it. Hi, Florida State. They kicked me out my senior year. I don't know. It was traumatizing. But I met some of the coolest people, and we all kind of came up together. But I was too shy to become super close friends with any of them. But one of my close friends is Adela Romansky. She's a producer, and Barry Jenkins and Amy Simetz and David Robert Mitchell, and like a lot of people who are making beautiful things and doing them well. I mean, someone came to my set one time who had just come from the Girlfriend Experience and said, I just worked with the greatest director of my life, and she knows you, Amy Simetz. And I was like, the greatest director of your life? I was so proud of her in that moment. I don't know her particularly well, but we went to college together, and she was studying poetry, and now she's like a really great director. So
have you seen like Amy or Barry out and just been like, hey, good for you. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, I really admire them. I haven't seen Amy, but I saw Barry. I went to the Beale Street premiere here and saw him there. And Adela knows I'm proud of her. So
cool. That's a great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen If Beale Street Could Talk, just a little plug there. I know we have some audience questions, so before we get out of here, let's go to them really quick. Who do we have first?
Hi, Megan.
Hey.
Earlier you said you don't really know much about what's going to happen. You go from script to script. But is there somewhere like in a writer's room or a producer's room where there's a mythology of like the entire show, like from season 1 to like maybe 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever? Is there anything like that?
Have you dreamed of that?
Well, I mean, some of the actors in This Is Us know everything that's going on. There's a writer's room and there's a board that has all the stuff mapped out.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Is there anything like that?
If they have that, they don't share it with me.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like a small club of people that's like James and the Johns who have that information possibly. But another thing is that I think they're coming up with ideas that end up being better than the idea they already had. So they're like, let's go with that, so it changes the course of things.
Thank you.
Do you know, though, is there like an ending?
I think there's an ending.
Okay, what is it?
You know that this is how I make money, right?
Cool.
Like if I don't have this show, I've got nothing. I'm just kidding. I'm fine, but I'm not gonna tell you.
Also, this is how I make money, so I had to try.
Yep.
We have one more audience question. Who do we have?
Hi, Megan. Big fan of Blacklist.
Thanks. What's your name?
Wilson.
Wilson. And what's yours? Kim. Hey. Okay, Wilson. What's up?
After last season, they killed off Tom Keane, right? I just want to know why the show hasn't put a love interest to such a beautiful lady, and do they want to resurrect Tom Keane because there's no love interest?
I don't think that Ryan, who's now the lead, and he's like a hunky doctor.
New Amsterdam.
New Amsterdam would like that very much. But I appreciate that they didn't give her a love story, because I've had long periods of time in my life where I've been single and haven't really had much interest in anyone and done my own thing. And I certainly feel like Liz might be in that place in her life. She's separated from her child, as a result of her life circumstances, she's got a lot going on at work, as always. And so I actually liked that, that it's not an automatic assumption that a woman has to like be in a relationship or have some kind of love interest in order to be a character. You know.
Like you said, she's got a lot of other things going on that she probably needs to work on.
Always, yeah. Liz has a lot going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have one last question from Twitter, actually. Hi, Megan. I'm a very big fan of The Blacklist, and I want to ask you, how has working in the TV show helped you find that special thing that only you as an actress can bring to the stage?
Oh, my gosh. That is so sweet. I don't know if it has. You know, the reality is that every actor, the thing that they bring to the stage that no one else can is themselves. So in a way, I guess the answer to this question is that I have learned a lot about myself. I'm learning a lot more and more every day. And, you know, I'm really grateful to people who love this show and who watch this show and want to tune in and watch us do our work. Mm-hmm. And in a way, you've all been watching me find my way. You've all been watching Megan Boone find her way. And you thought you were watching Liz Keane find her way. But I brought myself to this job, and I showed up every day, and I was really vulnerable, and I sometimes I got hurt by it, and sometimes I was exalted by the experience, and sometimes it went to my head, and sometimes it went to my heart, and sometimes it spun me around and, you know, put me back down, and I just appreciate that there are all these people out there that watch that happen, that like to tune in and watch that take place. So thank you, Carolina, and thank you all so much for that.
I think that might be the special thing you bring, is that kind of honesty and vulnerability. And when I watch the show, kind of the ease I feel with you in this character, I think that's telling of the work you've done to bring Liz to life to us. So I know I enjoy the show. I know the audience definitely enjoys the show. And if you guys want to check it out, make sure you check out The Blacklist. It airs Fridays at 9/8 Central on NBC. Give it up for Megan Boone.
Thanks, guys.